What'd you think? One of the stories of the day is that somebody, who was it, that wrote that the Niners ought to go for Sam Darnold and basically say goodbye to Brock Purdy. And the idea would be like, hey, you can now sign Sam Darnold as a free agent, and you can probably get Sam Darnold for Baker Mayfield type money. And then you can turn around and trade Brock Purdy to one of these quarterback needy teams for a haul of draft choices. Um, you know, what some people actually claim they preferred Sam Darnold to Brock Purdy. Darnold played poorly. He had a couple turnovers. The Vikings got upset in the first round out in Arizona last night by the Rams. What's going to happen to Sam Darnold? Do the Vikings go back to J.J. McCarthy? Do they stay with Sam Darnold? If they go back to McCarthy, do they just let Sam Darnold walk in free agency? And if you're the Niners, if Brock asks for a lot, do you say, you know what? No, we're going to pivot. Well, we're going to go sign Sam Darnold and trade you, Brock. Seems dramatic to me, but what do you think?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I posted that last night. The receipt of Brian Baldinger saying, we got to flip Sam Darnold or flip Brock Purdy for Sam Darnold. I mean, a couple weeks ago, Twitter was a wild space when that whole day came about because, yeah, Brock was struggling. Sam Darnold was red hot, and it was riding the Sam Darnold wave. And I said it a couple weeks ago. I said it then. I said it a few weeks ago. I might have said it live with you on a stream a few weeks when we were discussing the upcoming playoff games. I said, Sam Darnold will show us who he really is. He will see the ghost. We're going to find out who the real Sam Darnold is. And the real Sam Darnold stood up last night. And I kept telling everybody, I said, Sam Darnold is who we thought he is, right? And he's never played in the playoffs. And all of a sudden, he got exposed. He got exposed against the Lions. And last night, the Rams, they sacked him 9 times. Unbelievable. This guy was a standing statue. And if I'm the Vikings, I saw what I needed to see. J.J. McCarthy's my future. I drafted him. Maybe you can bring Darnold as a backup. He showed that he could win games with that team, but you're not going anywhere with him in the playoffs. And I think teams figured him out pretty handedly after these last couple of weeks. So if I'm the Vikings, I drafted J.J. McCarthy. He's my starter. Maybe you can bridge him a little bit more with Darnold. You can keep him there as a backup, but they got some options. They got Danny Dimes also. But 49ers, they just proved that this whole weekend proved that Brock Purdy is their guy. Like his status went up to me overall with the way these quarterbacks play. They all laid an egg. Jordan Love, he's this highly paid quarterback. He didn't look great. I know he had the injuries, but it doesn't matter. You're getting paid $55 million. You need to go look like it. Justin Herbert, who I love, I still think he's better than Brock, but he went out and laid an egg, and he couldn't get the playoff win. And then Sam Darnold just wet the bed. So it looks good for Brock. I wouldn't trade him for Sam Darnold in a million different lifetimes. I wouldn't do it. And Sam Darnold, this man just watched his value of his contract plummet overnight. Like he probably would have got paid 45, 50 million crazily. It would have been paid that much. He'll be lucky to get $20 million at this, $25 million. Nobody's paying Sam Darnold.
Does he stay there? Because I mean, they they have J.J. McCarthy, but he's a rookie. They also have Daniel Jones. I mean, does Sam stay there or does he go somewhere else? The Raiders maybe pay him. I mean, I'll say this. I've been very, very, very consistent when it comes to the 49er quarterbacks. I told you a long time ago, like literally May of his rookie year, that Brock Purdy was not a backup quarterback, that he was legit, that he was real. Okay. And I told you that I didn't like Sam Darnold. And, I didn't like Sam Darnold. I mean, I'm not a big Sam Darnold fan. Watched him a ton at SC. Turns it over. When he goes up against any kind of a team that can put any kind of pressure on him, he turns it over. Last night, there was one play that I said to myself, that is classic Sam Darnold. Do you know what play I'm referring to?
Was it the fumble, like that early fumble where he dropped it?
No, it was the third down play late in the game where Sam Darnold was like 3rd and 8, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay, I know.
And Sam Darnold drops back to pass. Nobody's open. Holds the ball. Rush is starting to bear down on him. He's moving around a little bit. Nobody's open. Now the rush is getting close. Sam, you got to throw it away, right? You got to throw it away and go to 4th and 8. He takes a sack and it turned into 4th and 25.
Yeah, I remember.
And Kevin O'Connell on the sideline was like, what the fuck is going on? You could see him. I mean, he's like, what the hell are you doing? And it's that kind of a play. It's that kind of a mental bog down from a veteran quarterback who's been playing this position for years that I never liked Sam Darnold. I didn't believe in Sam Darnold last year. I didn't believe in Sam Darnold in the draft when he came out. Didn't believe in him that when the Niners signed him. Grew to kind of like him actually when he was a Niner, from the standpoint of he never played, and I talked to him a few times, and he was a good dude to talk to, and he was solid, and I really enjoyed our conversations. And he had a great year this year, in a much better situation with a better line, better weapons, better everything, better defense. But I still didn't buy into the Sam Darnold hype. And when the people that were bailing off of Brock this year for go get Sam Darnold, I was like, no. I'm not endorsing that. I don't care what Sam Darnold does this year. I'm not endorsing Sam Darnold. And sure enough, Sam Darnold gets into a big game with the season on the line, neutral site, wasn't on the road. And he just, he's fumbling. He's throwing interceptions. He's taking sacks that he should never have taken. And he just looked bad. He looked like he wasn't ready for that situation. So I don't care if you could get a great haul for Brock. And if Sam Darnold is more along the lines of the quarterback that played for the Vikings in the regular season than the guy who imploded against the Rams, I still don't care. I don't want Sam Darnold. I don't want an immobile quarterback anymore at any level of the NFL. I don't want an immobile quarterback. Mobility has gone from, wow, that's kind of unique, to, hey, you know what? That's really useful, to that's a requisite. You have to have a requisite amount of mobility to play quarterback in the NFL. I'll never, ever, ever want a quarterback that's a total Dan Marino statue in the pocket.
Yeah,
because it's too limiting. It's too limiting. You saw in that Green Bay game when Green Bay started putting pressure on Brandon Allen, you're like, run. And then you're like, after like a minute, you're like, wait a second. He can't run.
He can't run. And especially nowadays, the way the speed works with the NFL defense, like, you got to give credit to the Rams defensive line. They knocked this draft out of the park. They got two great defensive linemen there that they're building upon. Fisk and Verse. You lose Aaron Donald, arguably one of the greatest defensive linemen of all time, and he kind of didn't lose a beat really with those two guys. So Darnold just stood in that pocket, like you said, held the ball. And what I think is going to happen with Darnold ultimately, I think the Vikings will say, "Hey, look, we want you to back to at least be the insurance for JJ, because JJ's coming off a major injury, and it's not guaranteed he's going to be a home run star in the league. So you kind of need that insurance." But I think Sam Darnold will try to parlay his success, because he did have a good season until it mattered most. I think there's going to be teams that take a flyer on him, like the Saints might throw him a job. The Titans, if they don't go and draft a quarterback early. The Raiders, there's definitely teams that would look into him and take him as a starter. The Giants, because not everybody's going to draft a quarterback early, and nobody maybe wants to risk it on some of these young quarterbacks this year, because there's not a lot of good quarterbacks. So I think Darnold did play himself to a starting job. I just don't think it's as much money as he thought he was going to get. And he does have the option of staying with the Vikings, because I think they do like him, but I don't think his value is as high as it was after wetting the bed these last two games. But ultimately, the league is the league, and if you show some decency, they'll pay you, and he'll get paid by one of these teams that are cursed with quarterbacks. The Browns, I don't know. There's going to be a lot of teams that need a quarterback, so he'll have a job.
It's not a great quarterback draft. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, there's only really one quarterback that I'm absolutely convinced is going to be great, and that's Cam Ward. Cam Ward is going to be great.
You think so?
Other than that, yeah, I do. I really think Cam Ward's going to be great. I saw him at Wazoo. I saw him at Miami. I watched him a lot this year. He's the closest I've seen to Lamar Jackson, as far as not quite the runner, but as far as no fear at all of the defense, no fear in the pocket, no fear when he goes and scrambles. He runs with tremendous vision, tremendous poise. He's a big game guy. I mean, he's a playmaker. I love Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward's really special. I think he's gonna be great. Shador Sanders, no. Jalen Milroe, no.
Oh, he's terrible.
Quinn Ewers, I like him a little. Jackson Dart, I like him a little. He's got a big arm. Will Howard, I don't love him, but he's big and he's fast. I like Riley Leonard a little bit, but there's not a great arm there. It's just not a great draft for quarterbacks. Some of these guys down the list might wind up being better. Donovan Smith from Houston, Brady Cook from Missouri. The Auburn quarterback is not bad, but it's not a great year for quarterbacks, which means that's good news for Sam Darnold, because he's a free agent and somebody's going to pay him. I don't know if they're going to pay him, more than $40 million, but somebody's going to pay him something, and he's going to be somebody's starting quarterback.